let me give you this hint in the form of roughly 12 seconds from this show back in the day. I mean, that's unfathomably dumb. I don't remember the last time I got on the air, looked into a camera and said, man, you know what? That guy's dumb. But that guy is dumb. One of the dumbest people ever. So when you think about all-time dummies, who comes to mind? Like John Gruden is not a dumb guy, but he has said some really dumb things. John Jones has done a lot of dumb things. Urban Meyer has said and done a lot of dumb things. But today's guy can be summed up in a single piece of sound. Chia! Chia. A word that was made up by pound for pound, one of the biggest dopes ever. Arguably the dope goat, Ryan Lochte. All right, so let's be very clear about one thing. This guy is a great swimmer. A 12-time Olympic medalist, which is among the most Olympic medals of all time. At last count, he had 90 medals in international competitions. So acknowledge that. He was a great swimmer. Acknowledge that, but never forget this. He's also a gold medal moron. Ryan loved to tell everybody that there was so much more to him than just swimming. And then he went to Rio for the 2016 Olympics, and he went out and he backed it all up. This dude walked his stupidest walk. Dumbest walk ever. Dumbest walk ever. But because, as I said on this radio show only 4 years back, it was also one of the greatest moments ever. What a mess. Look, we still don't know exactly what happened, but I know this. If it's anywhere near what's being reported right now, you could take all the great moments in Olympic history. Jesse Owens in 36, Bob Beamon, long jumping in 68, the miracle on ice. Roll them all together, and they still don't top this. Lochte in 2016, if this is true, is and always will be the greatest moment for me in Olympic history. Isn't it great to hear me back in the day? I can't get enough of me. So that moment began in August of 2016. Ryan Lochte, Gunnar Bentz, Jack Conger, and James Fagan all went out for a night on the town to celebrate the end of the indoor swimming events. According to an interview that Lochte did with Billy Bush on the beach in Rio, this is what happened near the end of the night as the group was on its way back to the Olympic Village.
We got pulled over in our taxi, and these guys came out with a badge, a police badge. No lights, no nothing, just a police badge. They pulled us over, they pulled out their guns, they told the other swimmers to get down on the ground. They got down on the ground. I refused. I was like, we didn't do anything wrong, so I'm not getting down on the ground.
Chia! Check out Ryan Lochte, American gangster. He's in a foreign country, and this badass is not getting down on the ground for anybody. What a legend. Not only that, but notice he made sure to tell you that the other three guys that he was with, those weenies, were kissing the concrete, but not Lochte. He was like Rambo. So the guys with the badges and the guns had to turn up the heat. They had to take it a step further.
And then the guy pulled out his gun. He cocked it, put it to my forehead, and he said, get down. And I was like, I put my hands up. I was like, whatever. He took our money. He took my wallet. And then he left my cell phone. He left my credential.
This guy's feeling the cold steel of a Glock pressed to his forehead. And his reaction is, whatever. Hell yes. I love this dude. USA, 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 USA. What an American hero. What a universal badass. Kicking the world's ass in the water and then saying whatever when a gun is pressed to his forehead. Like, that's all you got. That's all you got. You've only got a gun? I'm not impressed. Show me an RPG. or a surface-to-air missile. Hell, why don't you roll a freaking tank through here? Maybe then I'll be impressed. But probably not, because Lochte don't blink. Cheer! And then the story got out. And then the reaction was insane. Of course, because one of the concerns going into the Rio Olympics was crime, or the potential for crime. And not only was that a crime, but that was a crime that had been carried out against one of the most famous athletes in the world. So people are freaking out. Lochte releases a statement on Twitter that reads in part, quote, "I want to thank all my family, friends, and fans for the overwhelming support and concern that I have received today. While it is true that my teammates and I were the victims of a robbery early Sunday morning, what is most important is that we are safe and unharmed." End quote. I'm telling you, my guy, my dude is like Michael Phelps, Mike Tyson, Jason Bourne, and John Wick all rolled into one. Badass. Except there were some holes that started to appear in that story, such as the fact that the Brazilian police say they could not find the taxi driver or any witnesses, and that Lochte and another swimmer could not describe the taxi that they were in, or where the incident happened, or the time of day that it happened. And then there's the fact that the robbers did not take his cell phone or his jewelry. Remember, it was a robbery, right? So that made him either the biggest badass ever, or it made them the worst robbers ever. And the fact that Lochte and the other swimmers did not report the incident to anybody after it happened. What about that? Lochte explained that by saying he didn't want to tell anybody because he didn't want to get into trouble. But then he signed a statement saying that his version of the events were true. Meanwhile, he bounced. He fled the country, leaving his three buddies to fend for themselves, talk to the cops, and answer to his bullcrap story. Then he started to backpedal. He admitted that the gun had not been pressed on his forehead, but just waved in his direction. He said they were not stopped at a traffic stop, but at a gas station. I mean, damn, Lochte. Don't let, the facts get in the way of the best story ever. And it was that. As we go to break, and I have more on this, but as we go to break, here are a few tweets from back in the day, and they're just as awful as you remember them. The tweets are horrible now, and they were horrible then. Here's one. Dear Rome, Ryan Lochte, he's telling the truth. I saw the robbery myself. Yours, Brian Williams. Joe in Superior wore an update on the face eater. I like to read those tweets, not because they're good, but as a reminder of what we were talking about back then. The face eater. Remember those daily updates?
Thanks, Joe.
Dan in Louisville tweets at Jim Rome. I didn't fabricate anything. I made it up. Signed Lochte.
Aw, yeah.
FBI Mike in Toledo was in that day. Of course, Lochte was chill. There's far, far worse things to have in your face than a gun. Signed Toby in Houston.
Larry Brown.
Same as that dope Lochte ever was. Same as the dopes on Twitter ever were or ever will be. More on world-class dummy Ryan Lochte when we come back. Continuing with our deep dive on Ryan Lochte, some reaction to set you up. Rebel tweets. Lochte's story was about as credible as that BS in Ira Craig's journal book. Unwar bums thinking that their life would be exciting to readers. Wells tweets, I always believe Ryan Lochte. It made sense to me. Nobody would make that up. Signed, Manti Teo.
Hey, babe, I'm just calling to say goodnight. I love you. I know that you're probably doing homework or you're with the boys or grubbing. What a fatty. But I just want to say I love you and good night. And I'll be okay tonight. I'll do my best. Yeah, so get your rest, and I will talk to you tomorrow. I love you so much, friends. Sweet dreams.
Wells wars a Manti Teo and Lene Kekua deep dive. Man, that's the truth, isn't it?
Aw, yeah.
Still one of the most amazing stories ever. Because most of us did not know about the notion of a catfish at that point. Obviously, I didn't, because I had Manti on, and I thought it was one of the most amazing interviews ever. Even I got fished. We all did. He did. We did. This email reads, wow, Ryan Lochte is really dumb. We'd love to have him advise us on some trades. Sign the Texans. Steve in PHX. Yeah. Let's continue. Yeah. So Lochte's at the center of an international incident, one of his own creation. He fled the country. The other swimmers were being interrogated and fined and having their passports seized. And then security camera footage emerged of the 4 swimmers at the gas station. As it turns out, some of these dudes were relieving themselves outside the bathroom. Lochte may have ripped a poster off the wall in the bathroom, and an armed security guard allegedly took exception to that and may have brandished a gun while asking for money to make up for the damage to the bathroom. And then Lochte finally came clean. As I said on this show, he went on with Matt Lauer to lay out the latest version of the truth. And his explanation essentially boils down to just one thing. The whole thing boils down to one thing. I was drunk. I was wasted. Asked why he lied during his interview with Billy Bush, Lochte said, quote, "It was still hours after the incident happened. I was still intoxicated," end of quote. So effectively what he's saying is when I did that interview with Bush and I made that whole story up, I was still blasted. I was drunk. Right, Lion, but you weren't still drunk later in the week when you stood by that same story. And even if you were still drunk in the interview, if you were, here's an idea. Maybe you don't do the interview. Yeah. And even though Lochte was sober for the Lauer interview, as I pointed out, he still did not seem to be especially locked in. Asked by Lauer how a bad night in a gas station turned into a dramatic sequence out of Die Hard, Lochte said, quote, "I over-exaggerated that story. If I had never done that, we would never be in this mess. Those guys would never be in Rio or were in Rio," end quote. Wait, what? Where are they? Who are they? Who are we talking about? What's going on? I mean, dude, are you still drunk? He doesn't even know if his boys are back or not. You know, those guys I left behind in Rio or, hey, Matt, they're back, right? And another thing, you did not over-exaggerate that story. You flat out made it up. You didn't exaggerate it. You made it up. You didn't over-exaggerate. You lied, which is what I keep coming back to. Why the hell would this guy lie in the first place? Why did he make up that stupid story to begin with? And as usual, you had thoughts on that as well. Sarah T, as an example, came in. Hi, Jim. Did you see Speedo has ended its relationship with Ryan Lochte? So sad that a company that actually makes nut bags is firing a nut bag. Got it. Nobody wants that, Sarah. Sarah, stop talking about nut bags. Damn, Sarah, really? Iceman 525 tweets, Rome. Lochte didn't seem officer to me. Signed, Troy Smith.
Hello. How you doing? Good, yourself?
I'm an officer, sir.
What's that?
I'm officer.
You're an officer?
No. I'm great. I'm great.
If it takes you 3 tries to answer the question, how are you? Trust me, you're not great. Sarah T and Troy Smith in the same segment. That's the kind of magic that only Lochte can create. How are you? I'm officer, sir. How are you? What? What did you just say? I said I'm officer. Of course, Mark in Hollywood came in on the phones.
You, me, and dare I say everybody has had a mimbo in their crew, a male bimbo like Lochte. I mean, we know the guy. You know, it's the dumb dude who doesn't know his ass from his butt, but you roll out to a party or the bar with the guy because he's the main attraction, and you can draft off him and, you know, get what we know as the spillover phenomenon. Trust me, James Fegan ain't getting any ass on his own. You know, no ladies are rolling up to the club and saying, damn, I know Lochte is in here, but I'm really feeling that Jack Conger guy. those losers have probably been making a living off of Lochte's leftovers for years. So when the Mimbo comes up with some idiotic story that makes no sense, you say, "You got it, Jill." You don't roll on your meal ticket.
Well said, Mark. Well said. Now that's a guy who elevated the conversation. Irate Craig took a shot at doing the same thing because even he had a take on Ryan Lochte. Sort of. Not really.
Oh, let's see. I want to talk about straight fire after this, but I got a good lie story for you. When I was 14 maybe, in 1984, I had a party at my house over Easter, and this big, huge punk rocker dude put his fist through the screen door, and so, of course, I lied about it, and my stepmom flushed my Van Halen ticket down the toilet. That was a drag.
Thanks, Craig. Right on brand, as always. Or as Hawk would say, in market, on topic. What the hell did that have to do with anything at all? Again, all those questions, like, why did the guy have to make that stuff up? Why was he telling those crazy stories? He later would say, yeah, well, I was drunk. Just so we're clear, as a reminder of who this guy is and what he's about, why don't we also go back to that time when he was trying to promote the Ryan Lochte reality show, a show that was called What Would Ryan Lochte Do? And the answer is show up like a moron when he attempted to promote the show on Good Day Philadelphia. Check out my guy describing his dating philosophy and life with a camera in his face.
What are you doing?
What am I not doing?
Okay.
I'm a lot different than any other kind of Olympian. I mean, when you think of Olympian, you think of they eat, they train, they sleep. Mm-hmm. That's all they do.
Okay.
With me, that's definitely not the case. I mean, there's so much more to me than swimming. I like to go out and have fun, like to go dancing, hang out with my friends. I like doing fun stuff like playing basketball, skateboarding.
What kind of line could somebody say? What would get your attention? Oh, really?
Good question. My philosophy is if you're a man at night, you got to be a man in the morning.
I like that. I have a feeling my co-host, that's what you live by, right? If you're a man at night, then you got to be a man in the morning.
I mean, I was brushing my teeth and the camera was there, and I was like, what are you guys doing?
On reality shows, they follow you into the bathroom? So you have to tell them what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I guess there's like a mirror with a sink, and then you have the bathroom.
Ryan, good luck to you. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
I can't do it. I can't.
Seriously, how are they going to get enough material? What was the question that stumped him?
What a woman can say.
Oh, what
a woman can say. You're so going to get in trouble.
Wait, seriously, how are they going to put together like 13 weeks of programming? You know, I'm a man at night and a man in the morning.
I mean, dude, when the local news hacks are clowning you and laughing at you, I can tell you this, homeboy's not going to split the atom at night or in the morning. Pretty safe to say that's not exactly a rocket engineer. How often do you hear anchors on a morning show interview a guest and then just destroy them the second he's 1 foot off the set? I mean, she's dying laughing, pounding on the desk, and dropping eyelashes.
You're so going to get in trouble.
Listen to her. She can't even compose herself. Remember, these are professionals. They're professional media people. They do interviews every single day. Countless interviews with countless people. They've seen and they've heard everything. Until they saw and they heard Lochte. Chia! Listen to her. She can't even compose herself. Quote, what would Ryan Lochte do? Start an international incident and say and do the dumbest bleep ever. Because he's one of the dumbest guys ever.